Hello all, I'm Michael with WriterSanctuary. Now, recently, I just finished the final edits of Shadows of Atlantic City, my next book, and now it's time to move it from from AutoCrit to Reedsy. This is after AutoCrit gave me an 89.7 on the scoreboard compared to Stephen King. Now, granted, I don't really necessarily compare myself to Stephen King, but it is kind of fun nonetheless. So why am I exporting from AutoCrit to Reedsy? Because I'm a big fan of Reedsy, and I'm probably going to wind up publishing this book from its platform. Granted, it doesn't have all the bells and whistles of something like Atticus, but I haven't really had a lot of experience with Atticus yet, and I would love to get this book out. So I'll probably use Atticus for the next one. So, in order to do all that goodness, from AutoCrit, we go to the export option, and from here we can export as a docx, RTF, TXT, PDF, and EPUB. But for this case, we're going to do docx because that's how we're going to import it into Reedsy. And once you export your manuscript from AutoCrit, you go back to Reedsy, and then there's a couple of different ways we can do this. You can't upload your or import the book on top of something you've already have saved. So like the Shadows of Atlantic City one I have right here, I can't do anything with it at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to manage this one, and you can see I've already changed it to original. We're going to call it original first draft. Save. Then when we go back to our books, now when we hover over it, it says original first draft. I imported by going and creating a new book, or actually importing a book, and then you drag, drop, or click on this to upload the file, and then titled it Shadows of Atlantic City, and then I imported it, and that's what brought us to this one here. Now you don't necessarily need to keep the old draft. I do because it just gives me another place for a backup, just in case. Yes, I do have the original saved on my computer as well as the final edit from AutoCrit, so technically I've got 3 copies of the book. But as I said, you don't necessarily need to keep it. You can go ahead and archive it or delete it, as long as your new version of it is uploaded to Reedsy. Lastly, you can always copy and paste it from AutoCrit to Reedsy, but that would be a pain in the ass. I mean, well, you'd have to copy and paste each chapter individually, but, you know, I don't want to do that. And the upload worked perfectly. It did all the indents, it's properly spaced the conversation pieces, or the dialogue, and the only thing that it didn't transfer over completely was all of the the scene breaks. A lot of the scene breaks did get copied over just fine, but I think what happened is when I was editing some of the scene breaks in the edits for AutoCrit wind up being deleted on accident, and so when I copied them over, obviously they're not going to be there. But I really didn't have too many problems copying it over. The only thing was that the prologue and the epilogue both became chapters in Reedsy. So as you can see on the left-hand side here, the prologue and the epilogue were added to the book itself, which is fine as long as you're not using chapter numbers when you export the book. Otherwise, it'll look kind of weird. Reedsy has its own pages for epilogues. So if we added, I think it's back matter. No, that's the about author. So it's going to be in the body. So as you can see, we have the prologue and the epilogue. Now, there's nothing wrong with keeping it the way it is. If you want to keep it exactly how it transferred over, that's fine, as long as when you export your book as a book, that you're not going to use the chapter numbers that are on by default in Reedsy. And what I mean by the chapter numbers is the number that appears above the chapter headings, as in this one right here. Now, I've done a video on how you can disable that and add drop caps if you'd like. You can click on that video, but you really don't need to worry about it. As long as you get rid of them, then you can keep the prologue and the epilogue where they are. Or you can do what I did. I'm kind of anal, so I had to not only did I copy and paste it into the actual proper prologue and epilogue pages that are in Reedsy, I did do a little bit of rewriting of them anyway, so, it wasn't too much to get off my back. But aside from that, the chapter headings and everything came out just perfect. Reedsy put all the chapters in where they were supposed to go directly from AutoCrit, so it was a seamless transition. Now, I can't promise that's going to be a seamless transition for everybody's book. Everybody has a different layout. I don't know how images work in it because I don't use images. So I don't know for sure if it's going to be perfect for everybody. But in my case, it worked brilliantly. Even did the bolds correctly where they are for the dates. It just went off without a hitch. And you know how I love it when things go off without a hitch. Now, the next up, we're going to add beta readers and collaborators to it so that anybody using Reedsy, the Reedsy platform, when they highlight and comment, they can help me further edit the book or to point out things that don't make sense to them or just make general comments throughout the manuscript. And to do that, we just go over to the share button here, and from here we can invite somebody to collaborate. And this is where you'd put their email address and send it out. Now, in order for somebody to collaborate with you in Reedsy, they have to have a Reedsy account, which is free, so it's no biggie. But yeah, then they can comment and write and edit and make changes all they want. So you want to make sure that you can trust who you're sharing that with. Last thing you want is somebody to go through and delete the entire manuscript. Of course, if you saved it from AutoCrit on your desktop, then it doesn't matter. You can just upload it again. That's why it's always important to have extra backups of everything. So what's next for the book? Well, the beta readers are going to get a little glance at it as I'm making sure everything, all those scene breaks are where they're supposed to be. I want to do a little bit of tweaking here, there, not too much. I think the story is strong as it is. And after that, for the writing sprints, we're probably going to be working on the book cover. So until the beta readers tell me if they like it or not, I'll do the book cover, and then I move on to my next book, which is Fury. I want to finish the first draft of it. Anywho, that's how easy it is. It was a great transition from AutoCrit to Reedsy. I didn't lose anything moving it over. Reedsy picked up everything perfectly from AutoCrit, so it was nice. Anywho, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. For more videos about self-publishing, blogging, freelance writing, or anything else I cover, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. I think it's going to do it for me today. I gotta come up with a topic and set up for the live stream tonight. I'll see you next time.